Hello everyone and welcome back to the Java programming course. This is lecture number 8 and the topic is polymorphism in Java. So first of all, what is polymorphism? So polymorphism is a way that in which we can perform a single action in different ways. So you're basically using the same action, but the same action is performed in multiple ways. So we can perform a polymorphism in Java by the following two ways, which are method overloading and method overriding. So we'll go in depth about what these two are. So first of all, we'll go to method overloading. So what do we do in method overloading is if a class has multiple methods having same name but different in parameters, it is not method overloading. So what we're doing is having the same function name, but the parameters are different. In that case, it is called as method overloading. So what it does is it increases the readability of the program. It becomes much neat, and there are two ways in which we can overload a method, we can overload our methods, which are by changing the number of arguments or by changing the data type. So I will now show a practical on how we can do it. So this is what we have done up until now. This is the car class. So what we are doing in method overloading, this is an example of method overloading. So here the name of the method is the exact same, which is car. So we have performed the same actions. We have performed the same action, which is uh, calling the function car. But what it is doing is it is doing different things. So here we have just doing giving in the value of age as 5, and here the value of age is set as what we gave to the function. So this was the example of in, in changing the number of parameters. So here the number of parameters are 0. Here the number of parameters is 1. So the next example was in changing the data type. So here we can have public var, and here we can have a string instead of an int. So string, let's say let's say color, and here we can do this dot color is equal to color. So here between this function of between this method and this method, the name is same, which is car, but the difference is in the parameter. Both contain a single parameter, but this one has data type int, whereas this one has data type as string. Okay, so now if I try to make a car variable, we say car4 is equal to new car, and here we put a string instead. So let's say we do blue. Let's do a syscall here so that we know if this function is called. This out is not coming out. I don't know why. Oh, it's this out. Sorry, my bad. This out, and here we can say string parameter call. So if we try to run this, what we will see is these will be printed, of course, but when car number 4 is created, we went in this in the previous call. This is an example of a constructor. So this is called automatically, and here we can see string parameter call. So first was read because of this statement, second because of this statement which printed 5, then this one printed 10, and finally a car4 printed blue. So this is an example of method overloading. The name is same, but either we are changing the number of parameters. So here we can have more. We can also have string, oops, have string name in this one also. So in this case the parameters are boolean number, but we can have one also. We can change the number of parameters, or we can change the data type of the parameter we send. So here we are sending a string. We can clearly see that this is a string because of the double quotation marks, and here we are sending an integer because it doesn't contain a quotation mark. So Java is able to understand itself whether it is an int or it is string. So automatically, in this case, when we create car1, the constructor call would be this one, as it detects 5 as an integer, and car4 blue, it detects blue as a string and call this function. So this was the example of method overloading. So these are the two ways. So this is another example. You need the number of arguments. So class is adder, and there are two methods which are the same name, which is add and add. But the number of parameters are different. So here there are two parameters, int a and int b, whereas in this function, in the add function here, there are three parameters which are int a, int b, and int c. Both are doing different jobs. The first one is returning a plus b, the sum of these two numbers, whereas the one below is returning a plus b plus c, which is the sum of a, b, c, these three. And then the function below, this example below, class test overloading 1. Here we see if we call adder.add 1111, it will detect that there are two parameters, both are int. So when we do this sout statement, it will call this function and return the sum of a plus b, which in this case would be 22. And in the next statement, when we call the same name but we inputted three parameters, three integers, 11, 11, 11, it will detect that it contains three parameters and it will automatically call this version of add and return a plus b plus c, which is 33 in this case. So this is the example of changing the data type. So you can see here both methods have the same name called add and same number of parameters, which are which are 2 and 2, sorry. But the difference is that the data type is different. So here both are integers, whereas in the one below both are double. So both are performing the same task here, but the return type is also different. So it will return int, and this one below will return double. So when we call this as out statement from the main, adder.add 1111, Java detects that 11 is an integer, both are integers, so it will call the one which is above here, static int add, and return 22. Whereas in the case, there's a below case where we give the arguments as 12.3 and 12.6, it detects that these are double and hence will call the function below. This was method overloading. Next comes method overriding. So this uh, method overriding is done via inheritance. So if a subclass has the same method declared in the parent class, it is known as method overriding. So it is used to provide the specific implementation of a method which is already provided by the superclass. Method overriding is used for runtime polymorphism. You cannot override static method because the static method is bound with class, whereas instance method is bound with an object. So now we can look into method overriding. So let's create a new class, new Java class, and let's say this is an automatic car. So we can say that automatic car is a subclass of car. So we have to put the keyword extends followed by the name of the parent class. So here we have to put car. So what autocar will do is it will inherit all the properties of car. So it will inherit all these data members and all these data methods. So, and in this case, if we do a different function, let's say print name, okay? We say print name, sorry, let's just copy this one. We So the function is exactly the same, but instead of printing out the name, let's say we print out auto car, and here let's say instead of printing out name, let's just for now print out parent car. Okay, this is the parent class and this is the child class. So keep in mind that in this example, everything else is same. The return type is same, void. The name of the method is same, print name, and the parameters, which are none in this case, are same. So won't have any. So what will happen is, if we say, let's create now an auto car car one equals new auto car. So now we have a car variable and an auto car variable. So object of car one. So let's first call the mm, let's call the method print name from the car object. So car one dot print name, and then also let's do uh, autocar autocar dot print name. Let's just let's just comment out what we don't need. So double hash for commenting, double slash. So these won't be read by the Java. So we have car1, we have auto car1. We call the printname function for car1, and then we print the printname function for auto car1. If we try to run it now, first we get parent car and then we get auto car. So what is happening is auto car first inherits the method print name from the parent class of car, and then it will, and then because we updated the same function in this child class itself, then the method is overwritten, and then if we try to call print name, this version of print name is called and not this version. But if we try to say, if we didn't have this one, let's say, okay, and if we now run the same exact thing, you can see auto car is also printing parent car, because in this case there was no method overridden, and it just printed out this version of print name. So this was method overriding. So this is an example. So we have a class vehicle and class bike2, which is a child class of vehicle. So in vehicle we defined a method called run in, and we simply print vehicle is running. And in bike2, in the child class, we are overriding the run method, and now we rather print bike is running safely. So if you try to print it out, if you make an object of bike2 and if we do object.run, it will not perform this version of run, it will perform this one of the version with version, sorry, the version of bike2. So this was it for this lecture. If you have any questions, you comment it down below, and we hope to see you in the next lecture. Wish you happy learning and goodbye. Thank you.